So, well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the public hearing for the proposed residential building energy standards update. I am just going to run through, and I should note this is being recorded. Just going to run through some quick slides here, a little bit of background information, overview, and then we can open it up for public comments. So here's the little agenda for today, just a few meeting logistics, etiquette, an overview of the proposed rule, where we are in the process, where we're headed, the actual sort of substantive language changes in the code, and then we'll open it up to public comments. This may not be super relevant if we don't have anyone joining us remotely. But this is just another note that we're recording this. We'll put it on the department website. Of course, comments are welcome and encouraged. And what else is relevant here? I think that's it for now. The etiquette side, of course, we just to facilitate a fair and respectful meeting. We just asked that everyone introduce themselves, be concise and respectful, and there's always time to file written comments as well to add on to anything you might want to say, or if there's extra time in the meeting, we can keep hearing comments. So getting to the actual proposed RBES updates, this really originates with an executive order in September of last year from the governor, which tackled a few different issues, but really highlighted the severe shortage of affordable housing that Vermont is facing right now, and an ongoing annual deficit in housing units, and talked about some of the regulatory and financial logistical challenges to kind of tackling that. Emphasized the need for accelerated action to promote flexibility and alleviate some significant cost concerns, logistical concerns, including concerns surrounding the 2024 RBES. So the executive order included the 2020 RBES, which is the code which was in effect prior to the 2024 code, as an option for compliance alongside the 2024 codes. The idea was flexibility, and the department has initiated rulemaking to essentially codify this optionality, amending the RBES to allow either the 2020 or 2024 residential building energy standards as permissible options. So there's no substantive changes to the actual codes themselves, either the 2020 or the 24. The only change is really the option between the two. Where we are in the process, so we filed a proposed rule, what's called a pre-filing with ICAR, which is the Interagency Committee on Administrative Rules, on December 9th. And then following that, we made our proposed rule filing with the Secretary of State on December 24th, 2025. And public comment period started when notice of the rulemaking went out December 31st, and that runs through February 9th. So we'll accept comments through February 9th, and I'll make sure that there's an email address at the end of this presentation as to where to send those comments to. Once we have all the comments collected, we've had an opportunity to review all of that, we will prepare a final proposed rule filing with the Secretary of State and the Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules. That's expected sometime in February, and LCAR's review process will continue likely into and maybe through March. So our hope is to, adopt a proposed rule into an effective rule sometime this spring, and the actual effective date for that would be 3 months after the date of adoption. So with having to schedule through with LCAR, it's sort of, there's not a precise date we can give, but shooting for the spring with effective date 3 months after that. Looking at the actual proposed language changes, so there are other changes to the sort of introduction sections and little red lines here and there, but this is the primary piece, and the full proposed language is available on the website. But this is the primary change, which is just adding 2020 RBES pathway to the scope of the code to say that projects meeting the requirements of the 2020 residential building energy standards shall satisfy the code, and that applies to the stretch code as well. So a fairly concise change in terms of the language. And I think that's really our little introduction. I'd love to turn it over for any public comments at this point. Andy, would you like to?
Sure.
As a representative of the public at large.
My name's Andrew Shapiro. My company is Energy Balance Incorporated. I've been involved in energy consulting for buildings and energy analysis, both in terms of pre-construction modeling and post-occupancy monitoring and evaluation. I've been involved in those activities since 1988 in Vermont. I work on residential, commercial, and institutional buildings, new and retrofit, from single-family homes up to 50,000 square foot commercial, institutional, and multifamily buildings. I hold an engineering degree. I also have worked for many years with the Vermont Energy Education Program, where we provide education on energy and climate change for kids in K through 12 schools throughout Vermont. So my comments are as follows. The 2024 residential building energy standards were developed with an extensive 2-year rulemaking process that resulted in the 2024 standard, which included a year of delay of implementation. This was a thoughtful process. It had a working group. It had stakeholders in various sectors, and followed all the rules for rulemaking. This present change, this present rulemaking must include a similar process of engagement of a working group and stakeholders, including public meetings, testimony, and analysis of cost effectiveness. There's no evidence submitted in this rulemaking that says, well, actually, it's more cost effective to do the 2020 buildings. It only says they're cheaper in first cost. The study that was undertaken in 2024 showed that in support of the 2024 code development, it really started a couple of years before that, the analysis time. It showed it's cost effective from a consumer perspective. Nobody goes and lays out the whole cost for buying a new building. They finance it. And so this analysis looked at the cash flow, and it showed that the more efficient 2024 building had a positive cash flow. That is, the cost to own and operate this building is lower from day one when you finance the building. So the 2024 code is actually cheaper to own and operate. So focusing on first costs only is a mistake, which is what this present effort is trying to do. The Public Service Department has a study planned for the spring to reassess the baseline efficiency and compliance with 2020 and 24 standards. Results expected in May. It doesn't make any sense to make conclusions about what's more cost effective when we have this study about to happen. The results of that study should inform any changes to the rules. The 2024 code's not only cost effective, but it improves building durability and occupant comfort and health. In my consulting practice, I see a lot of buildings with excess moisture and mold problems. And one of the things in the 2024 code is balanced whole building ventilation. And that's often the solution to these 6 buildings, or part of the solution to the 6 building that I see. So these problems, if you have moisture and mold problems, those can be extremely expensive. to remediate. And sometimes they can't be remediated if they're really difficult. So there's significant health impacts with some of these problems that the 2024 code addresses. And this is not going to show up in a cost savings, although including the additional cost of this ventilation, it still shows us the 2024 code is more cost effective on a cash flow basis. So you not only do you get the energy savings and the cost savings, you get a health impact and building durability impact. The process as it's currently unfolding is creating market confusion. These rules, I forget when you say they might be promulgated, but it's probably June before they go into effect. People are planning now for buildings to go in, and now they don't know what they've got to do. Do they have to do 2024? Do they have to do 2020? What's a business supposed to do right now? So this creates a bunch of market confusion that's costly for businesses. Businesses rely on consistency in order to do their planning, and this is really throwing a wrench in all of that. If the governor really wants to be helpful in making buildings efficient and affordable, he should name the Division of Fire Safety as an authority having jurisdiction over the energy standards. Right now, there's no enforcement of the standards. This disadvantages builders who play by the rules. Whether it's 2020 or 2024 code, there's been a significant number of buildings built that do not meet the energy standard because there's no enforcement. If you want to make buildings cost effective, provide an enforcement mechanism. Vermont has adopted a climate action plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This is great. We can argue about whether it's the right plan or the wrong plan, but I don't think there's any real argument that we need a plan. This rule, if it goes forward, will make buildings cost more to own and operate and will increase their greenhouse gas emissions. This just seems like wrong, trying to add up to being right. And it just doesn't compute. So this rule that's being promoted is really in direct opposition to the plan that's been adopted by the state. To blame the high costs of meeting energy code, to blame the high cost of building on energy codes is misguided. That's not what's driving construction costs right now. And there's a bunch of factors, starting with COVID and supply chain and many things that have really dramatically increased the cost of construction in the past few years. And the additional cost to meet the 2024 code, well, pretty much disappears when you look at all these other factors that are really driving the cost of construction. So in summary, I don't think there's any reason to go forward with this rule as it's currently proposed. And I think it will do damage both to the cost of owning and operating buildings, to the climate, and to the people who end up occupying these homes. So I will submit these notes electronically. And thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have anyone else interested in offering comments today? Andy? Thank you.
Ian, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to sit there?
Wherever you're comfortable.
Okay. Okay. I'm actually here. I know you're only doing RBES first, right?
Right.
Rather than stick around for 3 hours, I'm hoping I can make comments for both at the same time.
Sure.
Okay. I'm here appearing on behalf of VBRA, and they want to fully support the Department of Public Service in an unamended version of 2020 RBES and CBES. And this letter was written earlier this year in support of that. AIA has not finished or pleaded such a letter, but the reason why both entities have been working on this subject is the complete confusion within the industry. And I totally agree with the bit of Andy's comments that I heard, and I think most architects and builders also agree with the importance of a progressing energy code that continues to be more towards our goals. But the regulatory situation is so difficult right now that including the cost effectiveness studies that were used in the 2024 code, that it's really important to go back. And so we support what the governor decreed in his executive order in September. And we stand by to try to help reduce the confusion. We're hoping for no amendments to this, because to develop a third code at this point would make it even more confusing. Ultimately, AIA Vermont is hoping, I'm not speaking officially for them, but I'm on the policy committee. They are hoping to move towards a more regular rule like the IECC, but we totally understand that the state administration is not ready to do something like that right now. We would like to move towards something that has a simple exam so that all contractors can take and builders, designers can take the exam. But this is the first step that we can, that everybody can live with. And it's really, really, really important to make it. So we're grateful for the public service for leading this effort. The most important thing I'd like to request today is that if you could forward this to LCAR as soon as possible and get their adoption as soon as possible. We understand that there's a fixed 3 months effective date for it, but we are right on the verge of the next construction cycle. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're confused. If the hearing for LCAR needs to be within 40 days after your public comments close.
I think LCAR has a 45-day review period. Yeah, so
if it could be shortened, it will significantly help construction, because on their trajectory that I understand now with the 45 days, this rule would not become effective until the middle of June, but construction starts in the middle of April in some counties in Vermont. So there's like 2 months that we're getting calls every day from people who are very confused. They're trying very hard to do the right thing, but it is so confusing. And the safe harbor rule that's in the legislature right now will help, but it will be retroactive because it wouldn't become effective until after buildings are literally, the foundations have started. And as you know, that the the trigger date in RBES is for, probably CBs too, is for the date that the shovel goes in the ground. And it's just like astronomically confusing right now. It's hugely difficult for people to figure out what to do. And they have a lot of pressure to keep costs down, and it's just like really confusing. So if the safe harbor can go through, that will help. But the sooner that LCAR can adopt it, that makes a difference too. Because if someone is using a code that's at least adopted, even if it hasn't become effective, that might make a difference in terms of their legal advice, what's given to them. So I know that our next LCAR hearing is February 26th. Is there any chance this can come up before LCAR that day?
I believe you've gotten an email as you were arriving from Kelly Launder.
Okay, Kelly has been a big help. I can look at it.
Yeah, I think the long and short of it is LCAR. I mean, what I would say is LCAR runs its own schedule.
Yes.
We don't have any control over it. I don't think that would be likely.
Okay.
My feeling is is sometime in March. But I don't know.
Well, I can tell you.
This is Kelly. I think we'll be trying our best, right? Like we're gonna try to get the information to them as soon as we can, and hope it depends to like what else they have on their calendar and what rules they have sitting before them right now. It's a lot of factors, but we're gonna do our best to do our part, and then it's in Elkar's hands. Yep.
Thank you so much. I'll be letting people know. I just don't want to give them wrong information.
Oh, sure.
And then
Yeah.
the, I did, because I'm also involved with this whole wetlands issue. I think their hearing before Elkhart is February 26th. So maybe that takes up the whole time, but both are related to the executive order. So it's affecting us in many ways right now. So thank you. I'm sure you guys understand how important it is to the construction industry to get this sorted out. Thank
then
you.
correct me if I'm wrong, the 45-day period is for LCAR to deliberate on the
That's right.
rule, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
one thing I can offer to you, Sandy, is that you attend the LCAR hearing, whenever that is.
Right.
And
It's not
make that
today.
same point that,
Yeah.
you know, exactly what you just said here. And hopefully that'll encourage LCAR to process it quicker and come to a decision.
Definitely. I read evidently if they don't meet before the 45 days, then it automatically becomes a rule. But
Right.
it's still quite a ways.
You're not Dixie?
I am not Dixie.
Oh, you didn't introduce yourself. Could you please?
Of course. I'm Sandra Vitztum. I'm an architect.
Oh, okay. We've corresponded.
Yes.
Thank you.
I am.
Nice to connect a face.
All right. Well, I'm seeing department staff online. We have Kelly Launder and Barry Murphy, myself, but I don't see anyone else from the public. Happy to hear from anyone else if they are out there.
Nope, there's no one else online right now. Just us.
All right. Well, we're scheduled till 2:30. Not sure exactly what to do. Any thoughts, team?
I don't know what the requirements are, but hold the line open for half an hour.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, and I'll just say I think everyone should feel free to come and go. I will make sure this meeting stays open in case anyone else comes in with anything to say. Yes.
So who are the two people on the lower left there?
Kelly Launder is the assistant director of the division. Is that correct, Kelly? And
that
Barry
is correct, Keith.
It's about time I learned that.
Yeah.
And Barry Murphy, like myself, is an energy specialist. He specializes in the commercial side of the code, and I specialize in the residential side of the code.
For whom?
For the Department of Public Service.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the division.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I'm wearing my ID as required.
All right. I believe you.
And yeah, and Ben is from our public advocacy division. He's the lawyer for this rulemaking process.
Yeah. So do I understand until this rule is either adopted or not, the 2024 code is still in effect?
Oh,
yes.
The 2024 code. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that should give certainty to the builders then, because that's what they may end up having to do. And so
there's a safe harbor. There's a safe harbor bill wording going into some bill. And there's been real confusion because the executive order was made in September. This is not my specialty. Someone else should be speaking, but I can tell you that within the builders and designers circle, there's been a lot of conversation about it and the weight of the executive order and then the general attorney's
then this rule was adopted. Is that what that means?
I don't know what the exact wording.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, I think that's the gist of it. I would say that is holding the builders harmless if they built to 2020 after the executive order was issued, but before the rulemaking was completed. And just to be clear, I don't know if it's clear to you, Andy, that this isn't replacing 2024. The 2024 will still be in place. So as it says in the executive order, builders could build to either.
Right. And
Okay.
why would a builder build to the more expensive code to build?
Just for the reasons that you laid out.
The
Right.
AIA Vermont is encouraging members as well to go to
And
2024.
the efficiency utilities can incentivize people to build to 24. We are allowing for that, for them to do code compliance work, and we would allow them to incentivize people to build to the 2024 code.
So the safe harbor rule would be a legislative process?
Yes, it's language that's being proposed. I believe it was sent to us by Andrew Brewer, so I believe it's the Vermont Builders and Remodelers Association that came up with that, and it would go into a bill. We're not sure what bill it might go into at this point, but that's what's being proposed.
Wish I had more slides. Sorry, everybody.
No.
I don't have much to.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else, we certainly have the time if there's other questions, and just in case folks aren't aware of the process, to like the comments that we receive, and Andy, if you send in what you testified on today, those will go in the packet to LCAR when we submit it.
I will do that.
Okay.
Oh no. I've just gotten a text from someone that Microsoft Teams link isn't working. Uh,
Do you want me to try to get in?
Which link did you use
um,
on your personal computer? I mean,
Kelly's in, so it must be working, right?
Is there something
Yeah,
wrong
well-
with the link on the website? Did it get copied wrong or something?
perhaps. Yeah, just
Let me try it.
I wonder if it was correct. Should have been correct in the notice that went out.
Yeah, I just got an email from somebody who couldn't get on.
Shoot. What to do with that?
Yeah,
can you
it's not
ask
working.
which link they're using, the one on the website or
I just tried using the one that says MS Teams link right here.
is that on the website?
Gosh, that's terrible. Yeah, it's the one on the website. Wait a minute.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Now it's, wait a minute, hold on. Now it's letting me in. Hold on. No, it says there's a problem with the meeting link. Ask the organizer to resend the invite.
Can we update the link on the website quickly, or does that take some time?
It'll take 10 minutes, but I can try that.
Okay.
Which link should I use though?
Well, good question. So
See if that.
I'm on with the meeting links that would be in the calendar, Keith.
In the Teams?
yeah,
calendar?
so right, it would be that meeting link, but I can send it to you. I mean, this should be the link, but it's hard for me.
I just copied the one from the invite that's on my calendar, which I think
That
is what
should
you
be the
used,
same
Kelly, right?
Yeah.
So anyone who sent an email should get a message. Should be told to try the link again.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes to edit the website.
This person has emailed me, and I could email her back if you have a fix.
That would be great. We'll just,
Yep.
as soon as Keith's able to try it out, try and get it up there. I think that's the easiest way to deal with it, because we could send individual emails to people, but we could just get it up there and then everyone can.
It's still saying it's wrong.
Yeah, I think it's not.
Yeah, I haven't changed it yet.
Okay.
And we can go,
Sure.
we can go.
No pressure at all.
30, so, and just when I thought everything was going so smoothly.
Well, it doesn't affect your CVs, but I mean, fix it before that stuff.
All right, the link on the website should be good now.
You just try it for fun now.
Yeah, for fun.
I can send it out to the big list that I sent the initial information about us doing the rulemaking. So I'll tell them that we updated the links.
Still another hour of it.
I was able to join using the new link, so it should be good.
Yeah. All right, so let's have everyone try it. And while we're, Barry, if you want to work on trying to fix the CB's one, while we're doing that, we can have that ready for 3 o'clock if need be.
Sure, I'll look at that.
Thanks. see if we get some folks coming in.
So can you let whoever that is know the energy code update page on our website has the correct link now?
Energy code update on the DPS website has the correct code for getting into the meeting now.
Okay, that sounds promising.
Saying someone let me in.
Will you just
Nope.
Hey there, apologies, we're learning we've had a broken link and looks like we may have fixed it, so we'll just give folks some more time here. Sorry about that.
Adam, who just joined the meeting, if you would like to comment, now would be the time, and please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. My name is Adam McGeary. I'm an attorney with Conservation Law Foundation. I just need a minute, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Sure.
Sandy, did whoever was trying to get in get the message?
I didn't personally get one. I think Andy had one and Ben had.
I had one, yeah,
Oh,
so
you did
hopefully
But I
that's
didn't
okay.
have one.
going out.
That's right. Yeah. Started.
Everyone I know was happy with the VPRA letter,
Okay.
to be honest. It was carefully written.
All right, Ben, I sent that out to the initial stakeholder list that I sent it to. It's like over 200 people, so.
Okay, great. Well, hopefully everybody that has been trying to attend
Yeah.
can find their way here.
Not, they still have 7 days to submit.
Still not working.
Still not working.
She thinks Adam was able to get on though.
Adam is on.
Well, it's
Not sure what's going on. I hate Teams.
that is very strange.
Someone else just came in.
Oh.
Miller. Is her name, is it a person? Is it a woman named Miller?
Yes.
So, yep.
She's in.
Oh,
So,
great.
so
She got
that's
in.
2. So that's
Okay.
hopefully it's working.
I'm in, finally, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, I have not appreciated Teams in my life, but this really underscored it. I appreciate you helping.
It's always a curveball, it seems. But we're just waiting to see if anyone else is able to join. We sent out a new link to kind of our general stakeholder email list, but I mean, in the meantime, anyone who wants to say anything should feel free. And I'm also happy to go back over some of the slides I covered, which was just like a really quick, basically what we're doing and where we are in the process. So.
Well, to save, for the sake of saving people's time, if you can share the slides or if they're posted, I'm happy. to
Yeah,
walk-
I don't think they're posted, but I can we can put them up on the website after. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
might
that'd be
the easiest.
great. Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Did you have any comments at this time? We have some time right now waiting for Adam to come back online.
Sure, and thanks for bearing with me as we got through the technical difficulties. And just for the record, Johanna Miller, I'm the Energy and Climate Program Director at the Vermont Natural Resources Council. Would have loved the benefit of the presentation, but was coming here just to learn a little bit more. But also, about the current process and the update, but also just, we've had concerns about this rulemaking just because it seems to have done a little bit of an end run around like the prior process. So I guess one of the questions that I was wondering about was I had understood that the Public Service Department is undertaking a study. They're supposed to be in the field this spring to reassess the baseline, sort of the efficiency levels and compliance of new homes to the RBES. So I'm just curious about if they can provide an update on that process and how that interacts with this update.
Kelly or Barry, could you field that question?
I'm gonna let Barry take it because he's more directly involved with the market assessments. If he's still there.
Barry, you there?
Perhaps not.
Barry, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Stepped away.
Is there anything we can say high level, Kelly, that we might some kind of
Well,
update?
I mean, what was in the executive order was a number of items that department was supposed to address by, I think, May. And we're still planning on doing that. We're still undertaking the market assessments. So, and I'm sorry, was there more? I'm sorry, Joey, is there more into the question?
I mean, if you're undertaking an analysis to understand, I guess, I'm a little uncertain about exactly what the study's looking at, but what I had understood was that it's sort of just looking to assess the baseline, understand the efficiency levels and the compliance. So I just wonder about this rulemaking, the timing of this rulemaking before the benefit of that analysis.
Yeah, we will be looking at compliance, which we always do in these market assessments. And then the other piece was to do something, I guess, slightly different than what we typically do, which is looking at the market rates of the cost. Because those were estimates that we do include in the cost effective analysis, but just trying to update the numbers on the cost of the materials and such, seeing how they've been fluctuating so much. And one of the concerns we heard about the current rule in 2024 was that the costs weren't correct. So we're looking at those costs for materials.
Do you know the timing of that analysis, Kelly? And just my question still is like, how does that work on the ground?
Well, I mean, we're hoping obviously that we have at least draft results in time for the May report that has to go to the governor's office. So that's what we're shooting for. The full market assessments won't be completed by then, but we're hoping these components on compliance and the cost updates would be at least in draft form that we could utilize the information.
Okay, thanks. And then if you've already covered this, and I don't know if it's like, is there sort of a timing? Is there for this rulemaking that you've already walked through or could? Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, this is kind of where we are. We have filed with the Secretary of State, and we're in the middle of the comment period. That'll run through February 9th. And then we will review all of those and prepare a final proposal, which will be filed with the Secretary of State and LCAR. And I think we're shooting for sometime in February. LCAR's review, I would expect to take about a month or so after that. They have 45 days to review. So the hope is adoption, sort of vaguely this spring without being able to really pin it down at this moment. Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
I don't want to jump ahead of other folks, but I have a question.
Sure. Well, yeah, feel free.
Kelly, you said that you were going to be looking at increase in costs and you were going to be looking at compliance. Are you looking at increase in benefits as well?
Barry, I'm not as close to the market assessments. Barry, looks like you're unmuted. Can you answer if the market assessments look at the energy benefits?
I mean, what exactly do you mean by like energy? You mean like increased comfort, health, those kind of like benefits, or you talk about other benefits like lower running costs, that kind
Financial benefit to the owner.
Well, that's part of obviously the overall cost effectiveness piece that we're going to be looking at when we're looking at costs, as Kelly had been discussing earlier. We are going to be looking at, obviously, the cost of construction and the cost of operation of that building over its lifetime. Those are definitely components that we look at.
But I wouldn't think the energy benefits would have changed like the cost will have changed, if that's what you're getting at. Like the cost effective analysis does include the benefits, but I wouldn't think there'd be drastic differences there. But
I mean, in terms of like total energy saved and everything else, that'll remain the same. But where
Right.
obviously that'll change will be the cost of energy that is associated with those benefits, and kind of like equating, the initial construction cost versus the cost of operation. Those will have changed in terms of value. They wouldn't have necessarily changed in terms of actual energy savings.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing Adam's hand up, and I just want to note too, we'll go past 2:30 just to make sure everybody's able to speak if they want to.
Oh, great. Thanks. A quick question. I know the executive order mentioned that part of the motivation for the rule change was because of obviously overall costs to build new housing. And one of the stakeholders mentioned was homeowners. And I'm wondering how the department and others collected data from homeowners, like who, I guess I'm just trying to understand from a homeowner's perspective, given some of the data that was prepared in the record for the 2024 RBES and CBES adoption. There was commentary about the return on investment being, paid off even without the social cost of carbon. And so I'm wondering what kind of feedback was collected from the homeowner stakeholder groups.
I'll give you a quick answer, Adam. We convened an advisory committee. Part of the rulemaking process, the energy code update process, is to put together an advisory committee, and there were several builders on that committee. We had a contractor who was helping us put together that cost effectiveness analysis, and they did a study using RS means, I believe, and some other resources to establish a Vermont average or median cost of a lot of these building materials. It's a wide range, and there was a lot of opinions that we incorporated from builders in particular that changed the initial assessment, but we think we arrived at a relatively realistic estimate on the cost of construction. Actually, what we're looking at is the incremental cost increase to go from RBES 2020 to RBES 2024. So it's an imprecise science, and we had to use an average home. Can't actually do that kind of analysis for the whole range of homes that are built. We did the analysis for an average home that had elements of most of the new construction that happens in Vermont and an average square footage.
That's really helpful. I guess I'm wondering still though, on that advisory council, were there not homeowners or prospective buyers or a consumer oriented perspective represented there? Because I guess I'm just thinking about the incremental costs are important, but thinking about how housing is kind of financed, if you were to amortize those differences over a period of time, and how that incremental cost breaks down. I guess I'm just wondering if any prospective homeowners or home buyers had thoughts or opinions about that.
Yeah, we didn't have, directly the homeowner perspective, but we did have realtors. The Vermont Realtors Association was on there. VHFA had a lot of input into establishing what mortgage rates were. Kelly or Barry, if there's anybody else who would represent the homeowners on that advisory council, or Sandy.
I'm sorry, I wasn't
Okay.
ready to answer that.
I was just looking for the homeowner's perspective. Adam had asked about if there was the homeowner's perspective was represented on the advisory council.
No, I mean, we didn't specifically have someone who, like, I don't, you know, like someone who is prospectively looking to buy a house or anything like that. I think the closest would have been the Realtors Association, like Keith said.
So I know Sandy's here, and Jim, I see your hand as well. Sandy, do you want to?
Jim and I are probably going to say the same
Okay.
thing. Jim, I'll just really quickly say, and then you could give more detail. Starting last June, VBRA began to accumulate information about specific projects and what the delta was of cost. And it was between $11,000 and $16,000. They looked at 3 or 4 houses, Jim, and the payback, I can't remember what the yardstick is for payback, but that amount of cost did not pay back in the required amount of time.
And so I think one of the things that after doing more research on this as well, you know, at a national level, some of the even the consideration that DOE was making is that a lot of times they were looking at the cost of, like, let's say outboard insulation. Okay, what is outboard insulation? It should be rigid insulation. It could be 1 inch thick, as the code says is the minimum. It really in our climate zone should be much greater than that. It should be at least 2 inches thick. But with that is the extenuating or the extraneous costs that come along with that, because to put 2 inches or 1 inch of insulation outboard of a house, you then are changing so many other dynamics, and there's other construction items that change to facilitate that requirement. And that's one thing that we think is really important to consider is what does it take to make thicker extension jambs, or, you know, wider, deeper extension jambs for your windows, your doors, your trim, your corners, things like that. And then the different fasteners that might be needed. Point in case, if you're going to insulate a basement wall with an environmentally friendly EPS insulation, you know, you're going to need to get to an R20, you're going to need 5 inches of insulation. Well, to fasten that to the wall appropriately without using caustic adhesives, you would want to use like a concrete anchor. Unfortunately, the longest concrete anchor that's being made in this situation that we use for that attachment is 6 inches, but that doesn't offer enough embedment into the concrete, and so it can't attach appropriately. So you're really forced to go in a different direction. So some of these considerations, I think, you know, as far as how much does it cost to get there, isn't taking the broader picture of all the supporting tasks that have to be completed. And I think that really needs to be part of the discussion. And with that, Sandy, you are correct. But even recently, I did another comparison on a national level and Vermont state level. And the delta in between could be as high as $16,500 to $30,500. And that's going to be for a house anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000 square feet. So there is a big range there, but we're trying to accommodate the housing stock that I see personally as a builder being put up in or being constructed in the state of Vermont right now. So that's just some of the takeaways, I think, as far as we do this research going forward, that we look at all these things and not just, oh, it's a little bit more for insulation. I mean, really, what does it take to get there? And I think that should be a big part of the discussion.
Jim, could you just quickly identify yourself for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Jim Bradley, with the Vermont Home Builders and Vermonters Association, also project manager and developer for Hayward Design Build.
And Jim is also a certified PERS rater and also a passive, you have a lot of credentials I think the important thing is that VBRA is not a bunch of people trying to avoid making good buildings. They very much care about good buildings, but we have to be able to operate in a clean, clear environment for what is required and what they're building. it puts the homeowner in a very strange situation to be saying, no, they won't pay for something. And then the builder, the builder has to certify. So the 2 points we missed, Jim, are that one, in the LCAR report from 2023, the equivalent amount, the delta that was pointed out was something in the neighborhood of $1,700. And the least expensive delta we found was $11,000. So it's a 10-time differential. It's a significant amount of money. Whereas the LCAR report said that, yes, it met the criteria for payback, it doesn't meet it back in practical experience.
And Sandy, to that point that you made there, I agree. You know, I'm a big proponent of balanced ventilation. It's hugely important to have, you know, your ventilation exhaust going to one direction and coming in from a known source and making the buildings healthier. But in that regard, even the cheapest balanced ventilation done in a factory like a modular home factory, which is, you know, a controlled environment, is $4,500 to $7,000. And so when you get out into the, you know, an actual stick-built home, that price can definitely accelerate. Some of the Zender units that which really is a Ferrari of the ventilation components, I've seen those go as high as $25,000 per. And so that's just some of the, I think, the information that we need to look at, because yes, it's a great idea to have that in there. We shouldn't omit that, but just understand what the real cost is going to be.
And the governor, having made that comment in his executive order in September, has caused, since then there's been a lot of confusion about what to do. And for instance, a homeowner could say, we don't want to build to anything more than 2020, but the builder's in a very confusing situation. So VBRA is supporting clarity.
Yeah, Sandy, can I interrupt? We have two other people
I'm sorry.
in line. I don't know who was
Brief
first.
comment.
Johanna.
Brief comment from Andy and then
Sorry.
Johanna.
Jim, could you submit your cost analysis to the DPS as part of the evidence here?
Certainly. Certainly do that. I can do that, yes.
Do you want to?
Johanna, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. And my question was pretty much what Andy just asked for. That cost analysis would be extremely helpful. And also just curious, helpful to hear that perspective, Jim and Sandy, what the average cost of a home is. You said 1,500 to 3,000 square foot homes, and then the price delta 11,000 to 16,000, and maybe you'll follow up with some other information, but just curious what the average home.
If I may, what we're seeing as a builder, we're seeing, you know, an average cost now being around the $750,000 mark. And, you know, the whole shocking figure of $1 million house doesn't, I mean, it sounds egregious in so many respects, but yet that's becoming more of the norm when we're even looking at some of our multifamily builders that are doing your larger complexes with, like I say, a 1 or 2 bedroom condo style unit. Those are $450,000 every day. And that's not with any land or anything else. That's just the unit itself. So the prices have definitely elevated beyond most people's expectations.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And thanks in advance for sharing that info.
Certainly.
Has anyone else joined us that hasn't that's been interested in speaking and hasn't done so?
If not, I did cut you off, Sandy. So if you wanted to.
No, I was going on, and I appreciate you doing that. You have to. I could add that the average Vermonter's budget for new construction is far, far less than the actual cost of construction now. So we are doing everything possible that we can to lower prices. And it is frustrating for VBRA builders that, you know, the owners would rather put more money into their cabinetry than into energy improvements. The builders I know are doing their very, very best to make buildings comply. and possibly even with 2024 requirements, but the budget is extremely tight. So that delta of $11,000 is an obstacle. But I don't think we're here to be discussing that today. I think the question is whether the RBs, the 2020 should be amended with or without amendments. And VBRA is hoping very practically that it could be adopted without amendments so that we can use the code that's already been published and the res check that's already been published. We would be thrown into a tailspin if we don't have these tools to certify buildings immediately, because buildings are starting construction, owners are pushing to lower the cost, and it's really difficult right now.
So just for the benefit of anybody that wasn't here when I did my little presentation, which I think is most folks, I'll just quickly say that as proposed right now, the rule is really just allowing optionality between the 2020 and 2024 versions of these codes without any substantive changes to the codes themselves, and that's reflected in the language that's been added. So the current proposal is just to allow for the choice between the two. Andy?
There's been a couple of years of training on the new 2024 code for builders. It's been going on for a couple of years. So there's no surprises here. And I think the real confusion for the builders is really a result of this new rule coming in. Now they don't know what to do. So they've been being trained over the past couple of years on complying with 2024. So aside from the cost question, which hopefully more light will be shed on that with the study that'll come out, it's the rule that's creating this rule change that's creating the confusion, not the 2024 code.
However, the 2024 code was based on incorrect cost effectiveness studies. So, I mean, it just opens up a whole other level of question. And I think there are a lot of architects that would like to make some small amendments to the 2020 if it comes back online. But as a whole, people are agreeing that it's better to use the existing document because then we have immediate access to all of its peripheral things like the code itself and the RS check. So we don't want three codes coexisting. That would be the worst. And we do need to have the second one. If public service has the appetite to go through after the next analysis of compliance is finished, if they have appetite to go through and make yet another code, it was great. I think AIA Vermont would look forward to that, VBRA, but the problem is right now we have houses that have to start construction and it's unclear. So in the previous, the 2024 didn't go through the process in our minds correctly. So that's the problem. And I think that public service is doing an excellent job in trying to clean things up so that construction can proceed without this really horrible confusion.
Jim, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, just one more thing to add about the point of saying that the only confusion is as to what code to follow or what not. I just came across, and one thing I do a lot of is test out for other builders and consult with them during the build process on how to meet the code. And with that, I still come across builders who are not even aware of the simple blower door requirement that is required by the 2020 RBES as of September 1st, 2020, let alone the fact of some of the other increases in the 2024. And then they also don't believe it's their responsibility. They think, well, if anything else, and I had a contractor tell a customer the other day, this is your responsibility to get this test. And that's not the case. It's the contractor's responsibility. So there is a big lack of education in that regard of what certain codes are, what, because for so long people have had no expectation that there had been codes in Vermont. So many of the builders haven't had that. So it's not like they're trying to do anything wrong necessarily. And they're not like the fraudsters or anything else. They just think that, oh, this is it's not being enforced. It's not my responsibility. No, this is the owner's responsibility. And so there's really that lack of understanding. And so I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in. And yes, I do agree that now saying, well, you could follow 2024 or 2020 did add to the confusion, but there's still a huge lack of education as what they are supposed to follow, because there's no requirement for them to be educated except when it becomes a litigious situation. So I think ramping that up is what we've been trying to do at the VBRA. Sandy has tirelessly worked for this to actually see this happen to where we can get that better education component out there. And that needs to be part of the process, because no matter how wonderful the code might be or solidified, codified it may be, without the enforcement and the understanding with the building industry, that's risky. And then also at the same time, it puts a lot of the risk when there's two code iterations out there on the builder who's being told, okay, follow 2020. If something gets rescinded, and then also, no, you got to actually be complying with 2024. Right now, there's not a safe harbor for the builders who are following the latest governor's mandate or executive order, to say that you'll be okay if you do follow this, if it gets overturned. And so, as Sandy said, we're trying to plan for builds that are coming up that could take a year long for some of these builds to happen. And a lot can change in the course of 12 months, as it already has. That's where our bigger concerns lie.
We're really grateful to you for doing this as fast as you can. If nobody else wants to speak, would it help if I gave you one example, which I think is really, just this morning, an architect wrote me saying, what do? I have to insulate the inside of my basement wall. The code right now, 2024, is for R20 on the inside of the foundation wall or outside. And 2020 is R15. The owners would like to use as little insulation as possible. It's not even a builder question. The owners are actually paying for it. And he needs to make sure that if he says it's okay to reduce down to 15, that that's actually true. The house is starting construction as soon as the frost is out of the ground. And he's trying to be careful because he could be held liable if he says it's okay to go to 15. That's 3 inches instead of 4 inches. He could be held liable. At this point, it's indefinite. There's a question about the RBES being the statute of limitations being 6 years, but some person could buy the house, let's say even 6 years from now, and hold the builder or the architect liable when they're trying to do the best thing, trying to balance what's energy efficient versus what the owner can afford. It's a painful, and that's just one tiny example of a house. There are thousands of these choices in every single house. It's painful, and it makes people not want to build anything at all. So we're really glad to get this cleared up. I'm afraid I have to go because I have a client meeting at 3, but thank you for your time, and I apologize. Really grateful.
Feel free to submit further comments.
Jim, you or I will send the letter that we submitted last summer. I guess that's what we'll resubmit, unless you want to put there more information. But I do know since then we had more on the payback period. I'll go look for that when I get back to my office. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
And for everybody else as well, any final thoughts would be welcome. We are going to try to wrap this up here in a couple minutes because we have another public meeting at 3 o'clock. So any final thoughts would be welcome. And then we'll say thank you very much. And we'll make sure we get this information posted up on the website.
Thank you. And
comment
thanks,
period,
Jim.
by the way, for everyone is open until February 9th.
Right, February 9th. Yep. So through the 9th, absolutely.
And the email address is available on our website on the code update page. The Department of Public Service.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Apologies again for the technical hiccups today. Appreciate you all
I'm glad we
attending.
persevered. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. I think I'm going to stop the recording. Stop the meeting.
Is it